The following has been brought to you by SJP World Media.
Cheers, please.
You're listening to In the Corner with BenNy Mac. Unfiltered, uncensored, and unforgiving. Here's the man in the corner, BenNy Mac.
Welcome back to In the Corner here on SJP World Media. Hope you all have had a good week, good weekend. We are back. We are on the air. A few technical issues. And I say technical issues. Basically, I needed a new USB interface, and it took longer to get it than originally planned. So yeah, but we're back on air here on SJP World Media. Hope you're enjoying your wrestling so far. There's some weird stuff going on in AEW. I'm going to have to get a guest on for that because I am not qualified to talk AEW, to be totally honest. From an outsider's perspective looking in, who's someone who doesn't actually watch the show, I don't know whether it's a work or whether it's genuine or not, but it doesn't give a good impression based on CM Punk's comments and stuff that were made after one of their shows. Fans have been waiting 7 years for this dude to come back to wrestling. I was one of them, wanting him to come back to WWE. Obviously, it didn't happen. I don't know. By all accounts, he's had a good run. He's had some good matches, and AEW put on good matches. I'm not disputing that, but I don't watch it. So I am not qualified enough to talk AEW, but from an outside perspective looking in, it is not looking good from what I can see and what I've read. Obviously, you've got to take it with a pinch of salt. It's the internet. Whether it's all true, I don't know. Whether it's a work, whether it's a storyline, whether it becomes a storyline, I have no idea. But hopefully, whatever AEW fans are happy, and hopefully it will get sorted somewhere down the line. Since last I was on air, we have had SmackDown, we've had Raw. Raw was really good this week. I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to say it's one of their best shows, but it was enjoyable to watch. One of the highlights for me straight away, just sitting here as we start the show, is literally Bobby Lashley reversing the curb stomp, which I don't think I've ever seen anybody do it that way before. It was really cool. There's a lot of talk about a QR code in the background behind Austin Theory, I believe, in the first segment, in the first sort of half hour of the show. And there's a lot of little moments that could lead into our main topic in a little bit. But I want to talk about very quickly, I think this is going to polarize the room. I don't think anybody can dispute the guy is good in the ring, but Logan Paul getting a undisputed Universal Heavyweight Championship match at Crown Jewel in November, which now I'm reading the rumours that Roman is not going to be back in the ring until, well, he's going to be on TV, but by all accounts, he probably won't be wrestling until November. So he's going to hold on to that title for a lot longer than 700 odd days he's got already. As much as I want to hate Logan Paul, and I do, in the ring, he is so far in the matches that he's had, he's done pretty well. I want to sit here and trash him, but I can't really dispute what he's been able to accomplish. Is he perfect? No. The potential this dude has, as long as he can keep his real ego in check, I think could do really well in WWE. But yeah, Logan Paul is challenging Roman for the title in November at Crown Jewel. He can work. He's over because, in a sense of, people hate him. But at the moment, they are kind of, I don't know, it feels like they're trying to push him more as a good guy, which is, I think, is a mistake, because of who he is outside of the ring. He's a natural. People dislike him. I think the more and more matches he has, people will kind of respect him more in terms of the wrestling in WWE, at least. He is very good. A celebrity that's come over, a YouTuber, in fairness, has come over and he's done pretty well. The only guy that I think personally did better than Logan Paul in the ring in terms of modern era is Bad Bunny. And to be fair, I knew nothing about Bad Bunny whatsoever. So for him to come in and do what he did a few years ago was freaking amazing. So, but I think Logan Paul's got a good chance in terms of long-term WWE. A friend of mine already said, look, if Logan Paul beats Roman, this is bullshit. I'm not watching anymore. I don't think Logan Paul is going to win. I think this is a good opportunity to show Logan Paul off a bit more and what he can do. Him winning is this longest ever reign in the modern era with Roman Reigns as this undisputed Universal WWE champion. No, not Logan Paul. Absolutely not. I had Cy on the show a few weeks ago and basically stated outright that Cody Rhodes is going to be coming back at some point and win the Rumble possibly and just challenge Roman at WrestleMania, and that's when we'll see it. That makes more sense. So if that is the case, do you know what? It makes sense. If that is the case, we're just finding people now for Roman to wrestle every now and again to keep the title relevant and him relevant. And SmackDown was really good this past week as well. Obviously, we've got SmackDown coming up. I want to talk about very quickly. The Bloodline storyline, even without Roman there. We've got Paul Heyman back finally. We haven't seen him on TV since SummerSlam. We've heard him. We haven't seen him on TV. Sikoa, new North American champion as well, down there in NXT. NXT as well, by the way. There's so much going on. I take a week off inadvertently, and there's so much going on. NXT has dropped the 2.0 as well. Thank God. You can just see Triple H's fingerprints all over this. You can even see it with Kevin Owens at the moment and a few other, in the fact that Austin Theory is called Austin Theory, not Theory, and Matt Riddle's called Matt Riddle, not Riddle. There's so much going on, and it's going to be a long-term thing, but I think we're heading in the right direction, to be totally honest, and especially what's coming up at Survivor Series, which we'll talk about in a moment. I'm getting so far ahead of myself, ladies and gents, that I've had a week off and I've got so much stuff I want to talk about. But there we go. We finally see Jay and Sami Zayn kind of lock heads a little bit on SmackDown. Jay's trying to help Sami win the match, and it doesn't do dividends, and basically see him getting at it. Then you have the younger brother, Sikoa, basically say, no, Usos, I don't need you out there. You come in, Sammy. Is starting to put that wedge even more between whether we see Jay at some point leave the bloodline and maybe feel like outcast or something, or eventually they turn on Sammy. I don't know, but it's interesting to see at some point we are going to see Jay versus Sammy, or in some shape or form, or whether Sammy gets to the point where he's had enough of taking bullets for the bloodline that maybe he turns. I mean, what a long-time storyline that would be, to be within the bloodline himself, and Sami Zayn somehow becomes undisputed Universal Champion. Can you imagine? But it's a good story being told here, and I'm every week I'm more interested, because you always see Jay and Sami. Jay just has this look on his face towards Sami Zayn of disdain all the time. So I'm interested to see where this goes. And let me know what you think at In the Corner WWE on Twitter. Anything that's going on. I'm interested to know what you think of Roman versus Logan Paul. I think it can be a good match. Is it one that I'm looking forward to right here, right now? No, not really. It has the potential, and we get to see a bit more Logan Paul. And I think this, if they do it right, this could be the match that pushes Logan Paul to this guy can wrestle, and he needs to do a bit more here and there. Weirdly, I don't think they'll do it, but maybe Logan Paul heads down to NXT. But yeah, NXT, like I said, changed as well. A very simple video. We are NXT, not NXT 2.0. There's rumours of takeovers coming back as well. So this is where I start watching NXT again, I think. Obviously, next year we've got, I think, obviously, for those who haven't noticed, they had Worlds Collide not long ago. The titles from NXT UK and NXT were unified. And early next year, NXT Europe is apparently going to launch. I want to know. I'm interested to know how this is going to go. Are they going to tour a bit more, I think, around? So not just in the UK, around Europe. So hence why it's called NXT Europe. There's so much talent over here in the UK alone, and not to mention the rest of Europe as well. So hopefully it provides more opportunities for some great indie wrestlers. Even just around the local area where I live, in terms of Gloucestershire and stuff like that, in Herefordshire. There's some in Wales. It's not far from me now. So it's there's some great wrestlers around. And hopefully this is an opportunity for them to, show what they got in NXT Europe, and maybe even get to America and into WWE. So, I know a lot of people don't like WWE. They like AEW. They like to be different. That's fine, as long as you like wrestling. But WWE is still the show. If you were ever going to make it if you ever wanted to go anywhere, WWE is the place, isn't it? It's the show, which I've said so many times. So yeah, I, in terms of Logan Paul, Roman Reigns, I'm not. We'll see how it pans out, but I'm not overly. I'm not overly excited about it, as long as Logan Paul, like I said, it could be a good match, but we'll see how it builds. A few things on Raw this week. I already mentioned the stomp blocked by Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley defended the United States Championship, which is the only sort of main singles title on there at the moment, with Roman sort of in and out. Good match. Riddle actually distracted Seth Rollins and caused the distraction, so Bobby Lashley ended up winning with a spear. 1, 2, 3. Still champion. By the looks of it, it's going to be Riddle versus Seth Rollins one more time at Extreme Rules. Hopefully this will be the last time. Damage Control are looking good. They're now the new women's tag team champions. Bayley looking towards possibly, I think, Bianca Belair at some point. I don't know when that's going to happen. But for this episode, it's very, very much rumor mill, to be honest. The Raw was good this week overall. Austin Theory versus Kevin Owens. There's a rumor, and I thought this for a while, to be honest, that maybe I didn't think Kevin Owens at first, but maybe we see Theory being so cocky, and he's really good in the ring. I can't dispute that at all. Let's talk about that Money in the Bank briefcase being put on the line. So Kevin Owens maybe, Johnny Gargano maybe we have a triple threat ladder match maybe for the Money in the Bank briefcase. That would be cool. But by all accounts, by what's being said elsewhere, is that Theory is not going to be keeping the Money in the Bank briefcase. So we'll see how that pans out. I've kind of got that feeling a few weeks ago, especially with the vacant, obviously Mr. McMahon being taken out and obviously no longer in creative. Things are changing, hopefully for the better. I think generally they've changed for the better so far. So, so far so good. But yeah, the rumour going around is that so far the favourite seems to be Kevin Owens because of the rivalry they've had so far. They've had some really good matches, Theory and Kevin Owens, to be fair. I did notice Kevin Owens had his old Titantron as well, so he's gone to it instead of this generic one. So that, again, there's lots of things changing here, left, right, and centre. Before we get on to the main story I want to talk about in this very short episode this week, to be fair, we'll be back on Saturday for our SmackDown review and a bit of a longer episode, obviously. But the biggest one of the biggest things to talk about these last couple of weeks, I think, is the biggest thing actually for me, or one of the biggest things, I should say. Survivor Series this year. War Games has been announced for Survivor Series. Now, we saw War Games make its return in NXT a few years ago. I absolutely loved it. Now, I'd never actually seen a War Games match. I know of them. I've heard of them. I understand how they work. But I was never a WCW fan, not really. I caught the tail end of the, as I've said many times before, in 2000 I started watching, so I missed the War Games stuff. Absolutely love the concept, though. I absolutely love the two rings, the cage and everything. It's brilliant. But yeah, Survivor Series this year, there's going to be War Games, ladies and gents, so that's going to be awesome. I don't know. I kind of wish, I'm glad they announced it because it's cool, but at the same time, now I'm wondering who, how, and why. When actually, if we started seeing maybe Judgment Day and another faction come together or something, or whoever, or maybe it's going to be Raw versus SmackDown in War Games, that's probably what they're going to do, or at least one of the matches. It would have been nice to have it announced maybe 3 weeks before Survivor Series instead of doing the traditional Survivor Series elimination match. This year we're going to do War Games. I should have got William Regal's voice, shouldn't I, shouting War Games out. But there we go. So yeah, Survivor Series this year. War Games, ladies and gents, in WWE. I mean, in the main roster, not in NXT. So very interesting. I don't know how that's going to... I'm assuming Raw versus SmackDown at the moment. Obviously, we're way off it yet, but interesting. But let's move on to the biggest news of, for me at least, in terms of the rumour mill this week. Oh no, my sound effect doesn't work. Oh no. Oh, I'll have to go with that. I just noticed this. Went to press it. It was one, the intro music has stopped, I just noticed. So I went to press it. But it didn't work. Let's try again.
We interrupt your regular broadcast to bring you this important news bulletin.
There we go. We've got to have the sound effects, haven't we? God me. And I have it there loaded, and I was wondering why it had that symbol there, but that would be why it wasn't working. Anyway, there was a QR code, which I mentioned, Austin Theory, a bit earlier, and it was when he was getting ready for his match with Kevin Owens, where they do that sort of backstage coming up next. And apparently, if you scan the QR code, it brings up this thing that's basically a lot of people are leaning towards a tease. So throughout the show, featuring a QR code, a video teasing. It says 9/23. So 9/23 is Friday. So it's September 23rd. So hopefully that means it's going to happen this Friday, but we'll see what happens. But the message says, who killed the world? And the answer being, you did. So this is all apparently, especially with, there's a little bit with Alexa Bliss this week where she's starting a match against Bayley and the light flickers. Now, if you're a casual fan, you might just go, oh, they just turned the wrong lights on or something, but that could also be, and I've not seen her with Lily for a while, to be fair, Alexa Bliss, but she came out with Lily this week, so it's all pointing towards Bray Wyatt and maybe The Fiend coming back. And do you know what? That would be freaking amazing. There was a Wyatt 6 Wyndham has also been putting out some tweets. And it's also, he's talking about the Devil's Hole in Arkansas and all this kind of stuff. So, but we'll see. But it also, there's like a White Rabbit theme going on, like Alice in Wonderland, I guess, going down the rabbit hole. But it's a random. It's full of cryptic posts. If you go to Wyatt 6 on, not Wyatt 6, is it? Look at Wyndham on Twitter, Bray Wyatt Fiend. On July 4th, Bray tweeted out about South Arkansas and then the Devil's Hole. When entering those words into Google search, you come across a forum full of cryptic posts. The moderator's name is White Rabbit. So, allegedly, this has been planned months in advance. My logic would say as soon as Triple H took over, there may have been talks prior before Triple H, but now that Triple H is in charge, I think that would lean more towards Bray Wyatt coming back. I hope it is true. But it says 23rd of the 9th at 9:23 p.m. TikTok. So, the 23rd of the 9th of September, isn't it? So Friday, allegedly. Whether it's true, I have no idea. We'll soon find out. Or whether we're going to have another tease. But Bray Wyatt seemingly seems like he's going to be making his return back to WWE. Whether he's still going to be the Fiend, whether we're going to see a hybrid of Bray Wyatt and the Fiend, or whether I'm assuming we'll see something like that. I'm hoping this is true. For me, it's very compelling evidence that we are going to see Bray Wyatt very soon. I really hope that is true. That's all I can say, really, to be honest. It's been Raw and SmackDown and stuff over the last few weeks have been pretty good TV. I enjoy Clash of the Castle, which we did our thing. We've got Extreme Rules coming up. We've got a special guest coming up, which you may have seen at In the Corner WWE on Twitter, coming up at Extreme Rules, coming on to chat about the our predictions, like we do, and which sided with me, and our review of Extreme Rules going forward. So hopefully it's going to be a good show, and I'm really excited for the guests to come on. Thank you very much all for tuning in, staying patient. We'll be back at normal programming on Saturday as we talk some SmackDown and maybe a bit more as well. But hopefully what I will be talking to you on Saturday, we'll be talking about the fact that Bray Wyatt is back in WWE. See you again soon, ladies and gents.